2-part series of The Rules of Life, an audiobook read, made by Richard Templar, narrated by Earth Angel 111. Some people find it so easy in life, they glide through effortlessly onwards and upwards, always saying and doing the right things, whatever the situation. Everybody likes them. They are great to spend time with and to live or work with. They are happy, for the most part, content, and know how to roll with life's punches. They have time for everybody and always seem to know what's important and how to deal with what's not. Is there something that they know that we don't? Is it something we could all learn? The answer is a resounding yes. They know the rules of life. The rules of life are guiding principles that will help you get more out of life, shrug off adversity more easily, and generally be a happier, calmer, more fulfilled person. You'll feel the benefits, and so will everyone around you. The first edition of The Rules of Life became a global phenomenon, topping bestseller charts around the world. Real readers have testified in their droves what a profound and positive effect the book has had on everybody's lives. This is a new edition now, with 9 brand new rules to make your life more meaningful and more successful. It's your life. How good could it be? This book is broken down into 4 different parts: your partner's life, you, your family and friends, your social circle, and the wider world, including work, to represent the 4 unconscious circles we all draw ourselves around. Let's begin first with the most important rules. The rules for ourselves, personal rules, which are rules for us. These are the rules that will help us get out of bed in the mornings, face the world with a positive air, and navigate our world safely and successfully through our day, no matter what may arise. These are rules that will help reduce stress levels, give us the right kind of outlook, encourage us to set our own standards, and to have goals to aim for. I guess that for each and every one of us, these rules will have to be adapted to take into account our upbringing, our age, and our situation. We all need to have personal standards to live up to. They will vary from person to person, but it is vitally important to have them. Without them, we are adrift and unable to monitor how we are doing. With them, we have a firm center, somewhere we can get back to, somewhere to touch base and recharge. They are our benchmark for personal progress. But it's not all about standards. It's also about lightening up, having fun, and enjoying life. So let's dive right in. Rule number 1, keep it under your hat. You are about to become a rules player. You are about to embark on a life-changing adventure, possibly, if you choose to accept your mission. You are about to discover ways to become positive, happier, more successful in everything you do. So there's no need to say anything to anybody about it. Keep quiet. No one likes a smart arse. That's it. First rule, keep it under your hat. There may well be times when you do want to talk to other people about what you're doing because, quite naturally, you want to share it with somebody. Well, you can't, and you don't. Let them find out for themselves with no clues from you. You may think this is unfair, but it is actually fairer than you believe. If you tell them, they'll shy away, and quite rightly so. We all hate being preached at. It's a bit like when you give up smoking and suddenly find this new healthier way of living, and you simply have to convert all your old smoking friends. Trouble is, they aren't ready to quit yet, and you find they label you as smug or a prig or even worse, an ex-smoker. And how we all hate those. So the first rule is, quite simply, don't preach, propagate, try to convert, shout from the rooftops, or even mention this. You will get a warm glow from changing your attitude to life and having people ask what it is you have done, are doing, and you can say that it's nothing, merely a sunny day, and you feel better, happier, livelier, jollier, whatever it is. There is no need to go into any detail because that's not really what people want to know. In fact, it's exactly the opposite of what they want to know. It's a bit like when someone asks how you are. What they really want to hear is just one word: fine. Even if you are in the pits of despair, that's all they want to hear, and nothing more requires commitment on their part. And for a casual "how are you?", that's most certainly not what they want. What they want is just fine. And then they can be on about their business without any further involvement. If you don't say fine, but instead unburden yourself, they will back off pretty quickly. And it's the same with being a rules player. No one really wants to know, so keep quiet. How do I know? Because when I wrote the rules of work, which turned a lot of people onto the ability to be successful in the workplace without having to resort to underhanded means, I suggested the same thing and found it worked. Just get on with it, do it quietly, and go about your daily life happily and smugly without having to tell anyone anything. This concludes Chapter 1 of the Rules of Life. Chapter 2, Rule number 2. You'll get older, but not necessarily wiser. There is an assumption that as we get older, we will get wiser. Not true, I'm afraid. The rule is we carry on being just as daft, still making plenty of mistakes. It's just that we make new ones, different ones. We learn from the past experience and may not make the same mistakes again, but there is a whole new pickle jar of fresh ones just lying in, waiting for us to trip and fall into. The secret is to accept this and not to beat yourself up when you do make new mistakes. The rule really is, be kind to yourself when you do muck things up. Be forgiving and accept that it's all a part of growing older but no wiser routine. Looking back, we can always see the mistakes we've made, but we fail to see the ones looming up. Wisdom isn't about not making mistakes, but also learning to escape afterwards with our dignity and sanity intact. When we are young, aging seems to be something that happens to, well, older people. But it does happen to all of us, and we have no choice but to embrace it and to roll with it. Whatever we do and however we are, the fact is we're gonna get older. And this aging process does seem to speed up as we get older. You can look at it this way. The older you get, the more areas you've covered to make mistakes in. There will always be new areas of experience where we have no guidelines and where we'll handle things badly, overreact, or get it wrong. And the more flexible we are, the more adventurous, the more life-embracing, then the more new avenues there will be to explore and make mistakes in, of course. As long as we look back and see where we went wrong and resolve not to repeat such mistakes, there is little else we need to do. Remember that any rules that apply to you also apply to everyone else around you. They are all getting older too, and not any wiser particularly. Once you accept this, you'll be more forgiving and kinder towards yourself and others. Finally, yes, time does heal all things, and things do get better as you get older. After all, the more mistakes you've made, the less likely that you'll come up with new ones. The best thing is that if you get a lot of mistakes over and done with early on in life, there will be less to learn the hard way later on. And that's what youth is all about, a chance to make all the mistakes you can and get them out of the way. That is the end of Rule 2, so we will be diving into Rule 3. Rule number 3, accept what is done is done. People make mistakes, sometimes very serious ones. As often as not, the mistakes aren't deliberate or personal. Sometimes people just don't know what they're doing. That means if, in the past, people have behaved badly towards you, it wasn't necessarily because they meant to be horrid, but because they were as naive, as foolish, as human as the rest of us. They made mistakes in the way they brought you up or finished a relationship with you or whatever the case may be, but not because they wanted to do it that way, but because they didn't know any different. If you want to, you can let go of any feelings of resentment, of regret, of anger. You can accept that you are a fabulous human being because of all the bad things that have happened to you, not in spite of them. What is done, and you need to just let go and get on with things. Don't use labels good and bad. Yes, I know some of it is indeed bad, but it is how we let it affect us that is the real bad. You could let all these things get you down, fizzle away internally like some emotional acid, making you ill and resentful and stuck. But you will let them go and embrace them as character forming and in general as positive rather than negative. On paper, I had a seriously dysfunctional childhood, and for a while I was very resentful. I blamed my bizarre upbringing for all that was weak and dispirited or badly formed in me. It's so easy to do. But once I accepted that what was done and that I could choose to forgive and get on with my life, things improved enormously. For at least one of my siblings, this was not the route they chose, and they carried on building up resentment until it overwhelmed them. For me, it was essential, if I wanted more out of my life, to embrace all the bad things as being an important part of me and to move on. In fact, I wanted them to fuel me into my future, to become positive to such an extent that I couldn't imagine being me without them. Now, if given the chance, I wouldn't change a thing. Yes, looking back, it was tough being the kid I was, living the life I did, but it has certainly helped make me me. I think the change occurred once I realized that even if I could go in front of the people that had done me wrong, there would still be nothing they could do. I could shout at them, berate them, rant at them, but there would be nothing that they could do to make amends or put things right. They too would have to accept that what's done is done. There is no going back, only forwards. Make it a model for life, keep moving forward. And this is the end of rule number 3. Subscribe to the channel in order to be notified when next chapters come out. Thanks for listening.